Hi, it's book one of the Aeneid, and underway with the key points from the first part of the Aeneid, which we were going to cover. This is page 18 of your booklets. So if you could turn to that, you'd be able to fill in your key events box with some of the key things here. So the first thing to have a look at is the three key gods in the Aeneid. So we're going to look first at the anger of Juno. Now, Juno, as you might have realised by now, is similar to Poseidon. Poseidon pursued Odysseus with a relentless malice. And Juno is following Aeneas with bitter resentment. She's bitter because she didn't win a beauty contest that was judged by Paris, the Prince of Troy. So she hates the Trojans. She also loves Carthage, and Carthage will be destroyed by the Romans that Aeneas is going to be involved in founding. So that's why Juno is against the Trojans. On the other side, we've got Venus, who is, of course, the mother of Aeneas. And she is operating in compassion. Firstly, she appeals to Jupiter to help the Trojans. And then she pitches up when Aeneas is wandering around. She disguises herself as a Spartan girl and smuggles him into the middle of the palace at Carthage so that he can meet Dido. And then thirdly, we've got the all-powerful Jupiter. And Jupiter is like a kind of arbiter, the go-between in issues of fate. He's the one who makes sure that fate is carried out. Once he's established fate, fate's then fixed, and everybody else, including the gods, have to go along with that. And once he's spoken, that's it. And he gives a big prophecy, and he speaks about the way in which the Romans are going to have their city founded by Aeneas, and it's going to be glorious in the future. Alongside that, we have the mortals. We have Aeneas, who is very dutiful. He's described as dutiful in a number of epithets in this stage of the text. He's the son of a goddess. He's got many qualities which show him to be a good leader. He's worried about his crew because they've been scattered in the storm. He's worried about his son. And so he shows off those qualities of a pater patrias and a pater familias, father of the nation, father of his family, which are going to be important themes. At the same time, we have the welcoming Dido. So Dido is the beautiful queen of Carthage. She's so beautiful, she looks like the goddess Diana, who's the princess of the hunt, and also the goddess of the hunt and the goddess of virginity. So those two are interesting little things to follow up later. And she's sympathetic to the Trojans because she's had to flee from her original nation too. Her husband was killed by her brother, so she's like a kind of a refugee from her previous life in the same way that Aeneas is. We've also got this legacy of Troy. Like the story of the wooden horse in the Odyssey, everybody's heard the story of Troy, and Aeneas discovers this when he goes to Carthage and finds that they've already been making the stories of Troy on some bronze gates that they put on their temple. And this shows that he's already known in Carthage. It gives him hope and expectation that maybe he'll be looked after. But there are the dangers of love. And what's happening here is that he recently widowed because his wife has died, and she recently widowed because her husband has been killed, find themselves together. Venus is worried that Jupiter wants to try and destroy the Trojan mission, and so she's going to try and protect Aeneas by having Dido fall in love with him. And that's going to stop Jupiter turning Dido against Aeneas and trying to kill him. And so soon enough, she is then drinking long draughts of love as she listens to his stories, making her doomed. So what I'd like you to do now is pause this video, go back through the text of book one and find an example for each of those incidents, the seven key characters. Yeah, go on. Go and look them up. Pause the video. Right, so hopefully you're back. And in the Roman context, we've got a couple of bits. Two key references. You can have a look at this in book one, line 148. But in it, we have the reference to the storm. And in the storm suddenly stops, caused by Neptune. As when disorder arises among the people of a great city and the common mob runs riot, wild passions find weapons for men's hands and torches and rocks start flying. At such a time, if people chance to see a man who has some weight among them for his goodness and his services to the state, they fall silent, standing and listening with all their attention, while his words command their passions and soothe their hearts. This is the way in which the Romans are soothed by Augustus, the same way that Neptune soothes the storm. And then we've already referred to line 258 to 295, the prophecy of Jupiter, which lays out the descent from Aeneas through his son Anchises down through Julius Caesar to finally Augustus.